When I was on that stage press conference, I kind of got emotional a little bit, like, wow, I'm back here again where I started, and just how Stephanie White was speaking so highly of me. Like, I'm like, this is where I need to be at, and this is where I belong, and I'm just so happy to be able to come back and handle some unfinished business.
The Indiana Fever are not wanted to play. Do you recall Cheryl Swoop saying that?
But in the Fever, we're like, y'all.
That's not my point. There's a lot of other going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some new shit
like
going
it's
on
a lot.
around there.
It's a lot. Yeah. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't
want to be here.
This is where I want to be.
Yeah.
By joining the Indiana Fever and vehemently defending Caitlin Clark and the squad against all the critics, Natasha Howard has made herself look completely absurd.
Excited to also play with Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, like the player that, that I also say stuff on the court to them when I'm like playing against them. So, but I'm happy that I'm playing with them, not against them no more.
Why would a top player like Howard purposefully choose to team up with Caitlin Clark, and how is she responding in support of Clark and the Fever? Let's break it down. We're not talking about just any player here. We're talking about a 3-time WNBA champion, former Defensive Player of the Year, and one of only a few players in the entire league who averaged 18 points and 7 rebounds last season.
Yo, what's up, fans? I'm happy to be a Fever. You see me? You see me with this on? Yeah, I'm back, baby. I'm back where I started. Let's go.
When the critics were eager to discredit Caitlin Clark in April, Cheryl Swoop spearheaded the attack with the well-known statement that no one would want to play with Clark in Indiana. That argument was totally upended, and the basketball world is still in shock.
What kind of things do you feel?
I'm not in the locker room.
Okay. But
I'm talking about more social media.
Okay. It's a turn.
Right?
It's a turn, right? It's really a turn of the tides.
Well, Gil, here's my point. The beginning of the year, right?
The idea that established WNBA stars would deliberately avoid the craze was promoted by critics like Swoops for months. They depicted veterans fleeing Indiana because they didn't want to deal with the Caitlin Clark circus, the media attention, the spotlight, the packed arenas, and it became the standard talking point for anyone trying to lessen Clark's influence on the league.
3 WNBA MVPs in your career. Would you consider each of those 3 seasons as dominant seasons for yourself?
No.
Man, I can't. Bro, Cheryl Swoops is willing to lie about her own career before she even admits that Caitlin is.
However, something happened that those opponents didn't anticipate. Not only did Natasha Howard, a 3-time WNBA champion, former Defensive Player of the Year, and one of the league's most respected veterans, sign with Indiana, but she also decided to rejoin the team that selected her with the 5th overall pick in 2014, the same organization where she started her career 10 years prior.
This is a tremendous, not only tremendous player, but a tremendous person. And what she's done the last 9 years in her career has put her in the elite company of many athletes and many players in this league. So, I want to say thank you to Natasha and to her family for coming back to us. Because when a player returns to a place that drafted them, that's special. And she chose us because she could have gone anywhere.
This was no ordinary sign.
This statement completely destroyed the poisonous narrative around Indiana. During her news appearance, Howard made it very evident that she was thrilled to be going back to Indiana. I feels like I should be here, and I'm glad to be back where I started. My family and friends are also glad to see me where I started.
At the end of the day, the way Indiana came at me with everything they promised me and they keeping their promise, they sold me. And I took the bait for it, and I'm happy to be back where I started and also being back with Coach, and Kelly, and also Amber as well, bringing her along. It's just a blessing to be back where I started, and also for my family and friends to also see me back where I started at as well. It's just amazing and a grateful feeling to be back in a Indiana Fever jersey.
This is made much more potent by the fact that Howard had several options and wasn't forced to move to Indiana or settle for the Fever as a last resort.
That's a good one right there.
I'll be back like
Number 33, the original. Back at it.
Oh, jersey.
Look, the original.
Right, we was with Adidas.
Look at that.
2014, y'all.
2014, right there.
It wasn't just a contract signing. It was a full circle moment that profoundly affected Howard, connecting her past to what could be an amazing future with this revitalized Indiana team. The emotional weight of this homecoming was evident during Howard's signing when she was shown her original 2014 Fever jersey.
It's always being on my butt about hustling, working hard. Do the little things, because the little things gonna take you a long way. And when I got the minutes that I played my rookie year, I took every advantage of it, and I'm happy to be back next to her, playing with her and her coaching me.
Howard and I weren't an afterthought in the Fever's offseason plans, as General Manager Kelly Krakoff disclosed when Amber and I first spoke that the person seated next to me is a high-end honest, elegant, and a fantastic colleague. Their leader was Howard. A player they strategically pursued to change their roster was their target from day one.
We have the talent, but first of all, we have the people to actually do it. So my thing is, I'm happy, like I said, to be a part of this, and also bring the leadership and the desire to, to show this young group what it takes to win a championship. I have 3, so my thing is to show them you can't take no days off in practice. You gotta think, you practice, it's the way how you play. So my thing is coming in, I'm just gonna show them this is how you work hard. So when you work hard, it's gonna be easy in the game. It won't be as hard. So my thing is just bringing that championship mentality to the locker room and to this team.
The coup of the Fever. When introducing Howard, Amber Cox couldn't contain her excitement. She mentioned that people often claim that a CV should be 1 page long, but Natasha's is several pages long, and the list goes on and on. That's the type of players that just decided to play with Caitlin Clark in Indiana.
List of accomplishments are long. People say you should have a 1-page resume. Natasha cannot have that. It is several pages. 3-time champion, 2-time All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved Player. Again, the list goes on and on and on.
However, what really sets this deal apart is what totally undermines the swoops. Howard said a heartfelt thank you, saying, "I'm just really, really honored and blessed to see a team that appreciates me and that wants my light." The story is told in her own strong words, explaining why she returned from avoiding the Fever.
Day one, when I got this job, Kelly and I were on the phone, and we had 2 things on our to-do list. Re-sign Kelsey Mitchell and bring back Natasha Howard. We have been focused on this day and this moment since the day we started this process.
This wasn't just a basketball decision. It was a personal one about finding a place where her skills and contributions would be appreciated. She even talked about how she's changed since her first stint with Indiana, saying, "I just feel like I've grown a lot as a person, and just as a player, I feel like a lot of teams didn't really appreciate me as they should."
The person that's sitting next to me is of high integrity, high class, great teammate. Players in this league love her. So welcoming her back, putting her on the floor with our guards, there's a reason why her nickname is Flash.
While critics were busy saying that no one wanted to play with Clark, Howard's elite transition scoring ability creates exactly the kind of target Clark has been missing in Indiana. These two were quietly forming what could become one of the most lethal fast break duos the WNBA has ever seen. Howard didn't just find a team that appreciates her, she found the perfect basketball soulmate in Caitlin Clark. This isn't just any partnership, though. We're talking about pairing a player known as Flash with perhaps the most inventive distributor in the game today.
A 10-point lead now for Mersin. And it's stolen away. Howard leading the charge, hands it away, gets it back. Oh, a one-handed off 2. A little bit of showboating for Mersin. Gotta love that.
Let's examine what makes this particular combination so unique. Last season, Howard was in rarefied air as one of only a few players averaging 18-plus points per game while simultaneously grabbing 7 rebounds per contest. Her ability to sprint down the court at full speed, maintain body control, and finish at the rim is exactly what the doctor ordered for a passer with Clark's vision. That kind of efficiency isn't just good, it's elite.
Last season, with a minimum of 25 games played, Natasha Howard was one of just 13 players to average 18 points per game. She was one of 16 players to average 7 rebounds per game. And the list of players to average both 18 and 7 last year, short and elite. Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Napheesa Collier, Brittany Griner, and yes, Natasha Howard. Versatility is a major calling card for Howard.
Howard, who has built her career on being precisely that kind of finisher in her introductory press conference, entered the game as the Fever struggled last season with a roster that couldn't fully capitalize on Clark's otherworldly passing ability. Too frequently, potentialist assists were wasted by teammates who couldn't keep pace or finish in traffic. In a clear indication of how she sees her game meshing with Clark's, Howard couldn't contain her excitement about this ideal basketball marriage, saying, "I can't wait to run the floor and get those passes."
All of that, and we haven't yet touched upon what Howard does best: defend. Howard was named Defensive Player of the Year in 2019 and has finished in the top 10 of the Defensive Player of the Year voting 3 times in her career. Howard has averaged at least 1 block and 1 steal per game in each of her last 7 seasons. And that versatility is really what makes her a weapon on defense.
However, Howard offers much more than just offensive firepower. Last season, the Fever had a defensive ranking close to the bottom of the league, and Howard's arrival instantly rectifies that shortcoming. With a wingspan of almost 7 feet, she is a defensive nightmare for opponents who can cover several positions. The data adequately convey the tale. For 7 straight seasons, Howard has averaged at least 1 block and 1 steal a game. This kind of defensive disruption changes a team's whole identity.
That wingspan and 6'2" height allows her to be disruptive defensively around the rim on opposing bigs too. In fact, Howard will enter the 2025 season 25th all-time in blocks in WNBA history.
When Howard jumps a passing lane with those long arms, it creates transition opportunities in the opposite direction right into the hands of the game's premier outlet passer and Clark. When Howard calls out defensive rotations with her championship-tested voice, the entire unit becomes more cohesive. Consider the implications of this for Indiana's young roster. For example, when Howard slides over to help defend the rim, it gives perimeter defenders more confidence to pressure ball handlers.
It's going to be Caitlin Clark flash show. So it's going to be phenomenal playing with a point guard, like you said, that have a good vision on the court, because that's like as soon as she gets the ball in her hand, she's throwing it up because she already sees the person down the court before she even gets the ball in her hand. So that's one thing I love about her vision on the court. I really can't wait to catch all those passes and give her all the assists that she needs.
Her rapid twitching movements and ability to appear apparently out of nowhere to create plays was exactly what the Fever lacked, which is why Howard was given the moniker Flash. If receivers are unable to establish separation or locate the pass, Clark's precise passing accuracy is useless. Unobstructed areas, Howard is excellent at putting herself in advantageous situations by utilizing her speed and basketball IQ.
Caitlin in particular, what do you see from her game during her rookie year, and just what's an excitement level playing with someone like that who has just changed the whole landscape?
She can spread the floor by shooting. She could dictate the floor as a point guard. She's an amazing passer, so I can't wait to run the floor and get those passes. She just grown just this past season, just like how she take the game day by day, and also just learning from other players and stuff. So I'm just really excited to be a part of this team and also ready to catch her passes.
Consider the nightmares that opposition coaches will have when they prepare a game for this duo. If you concentrate too much on preventing Clark's death, Howard will enjoy one-on-one battles inside. If you concentrate too much on Howard rolling to the rim, Clark will discover the presence of shooters on the outskirts presents a pick-your-poison situation that has the potential to elevate both players' games to even higher levels. Cheryl's bold declaration that there are many things happening in that locker room was the start of Indiana's change, and she couldn't have been more mistaken. The Fever wasn't merely added. Swoops might want to eat crow right now after Natasha Howard put together what may have been the most drastic one-year roster change in WNBA history.
Just playing with my teammates, just getting to know my teammates on and off the court. Because that's one thing I actually want to know is my teammates first, and then know them on the court as well.
After acquiring Howard, the Eye's front office continued to build a championship-caliber supporting cast that has the basketball world in a frenzy. In addition to Danana Boner, a proven champion with championship DNA ingrained in her game, Sophie Cunningham, a sharpshooter who brings her playoff experience from the Phoenix Mercury, and veteran point guard and two-time champion Sydney Colson, whose steadfast leadership and championship pedigree will be invaluable for the younger players, also chose Indiana.
Sydney Colson is a two-time WNBA champion, a true vet, an amazing backup point guard. And anytime that CC or any of the guards need to go to the bench, I mean, Sydney Colson always makes the right call, always makes the right decision. So to pick up a vet, a professional like Sydney Colson, and then you also have a vet like DeWanna Bonner, and you also have a vet like Kelsey Mitchell, and then you have CC and Aaliyah Boston and Lexi.
Consider this for a moment. In one off-season, a team that no one supposedly wanted to play for managed to draw 4 championship-caliber veterans. This isn't merely a coincidence. Rather, it's a total denial of the narrative swoops and other critics who attempted to prove that these players didn't choose Indiana at random. Rather, they made the deliberate decision to join this coaching staff, this roster, and yes, this team with Caitlin Clark.
I feel like we're gonna mesh really good and just do what we need to do, and also, be determined and also hold each other accountable when times get tough or when times don't get tough.
The way these pieces work well together makes this roster change even more remarkable. The Fever now have the ideal balance of young skill and championship experience. Boston's Aaliyah Mitchell, Kelsey, the young cornerstone parts are provided by Caitlin Clark and Lexi Hull, while Howard, Boner, Cunningham, and Cousin provide the winning mindset required to convert potential into outcomes.
Season, the Fever is gonna run amok this year. You got DeWanna Bonner. Oh my God. They took Sid. And some of y'all really don't feel like Sid was that valuable. Sid, so valuable. To not see Asia, Sid, Chelsea Gray, KP, and Jackie Young together.
The changes made to the locker room culture may be equally as important as the on-court upgrades. Howard is not visiting Indiana merely to post statistics. Her goal is to inculcate a championship mindset in the younger players by demonstrating to them what it takes to compete at the highest level every day. This isn't just about bringing in talent. It's also about creating a winning culture that lasts. The Fever has purposefully created a locker room atmosphere that fosters chemistry and trust. Howard's direction will be the key to this change is fostering an environment where younger players can grow and where veterans can offer the consistent direction required during the season's challenging moments.
I'm sure every team would have loved to have your services, so why is Indiana and this opportunity the right one for you?
I just feel like I'm supposed to be here. And God working mysterious ways, and he put me back where I started, and like I said, we still have unfinished business since 2015.
For a team that has been rebuilding for years, this sudden infusion of championship experience has analysts completely reevaluating their expectations. Some are already ranking the Fever as possibly the 3rd best team in the entire WNBA next season. This is a stunning turnaround for a team that was near the bottom of the standings only months ago. What's most telling about this transformation is how quickly the narrative has shifted the Indiana Fever from being viewed as a team on the rise to being discussed as legitimate title contenders. The days of no one wants to play there are definitely over. The question now isn't whether players want to join the Fever, but rather when this new roster can contend for championships.
We have a young group that's hungry and ready to win a championship. We added new pieces, so I'm really excited about that, and I just can't wait to get things going and, helping this young group learn and tell them this is what it takes to win the championship, and at the end of the season, that's what we're going to be holding up.
Howard's arrival is about more than just raising the team's level of talent. She's bringing a mindset that could define this new era of Fever basketball. Her goal is championships, not incremental improvement, and her confidence is contagious. This team isn't looking forward to the upcoming season hoping to be competitive. Rather, they're looking forward to winning. The critics who questioned whether Clark's star players would pick to play with him now have to face an awkward truth. Not only did these veterans pick Indiana, but they're already discussing championships, proving that the team no one wanted to play for has become one that everyone should be afraid of.
We gotta make sure we trust each other. When we trust each other, we could go a long way. And that's one thing that, when everybody come back from playing whatever they doing and stuff and training before training camp start, that's when we need to start coming together, getting to know each other off the court instead of on the court. Because if you know your teammate off the court, it'd be easy when you on the court. So that's one thing we need to dig in more deeply is trusting each other.
As the Indiana Fever continue to hone their roster in preparation for the upcoming season, they are now completing the roster to complete their championship-caliber squad. Yes, I stated it without hesitation. The storyline has entirely changed from no one wanted to play there to everyone keeping an eye on what transpires there. What the pundits overlooked in their haste to write Indiana off was the transformation is complete, the foundation is set, the culture has changed, and the question isn't whether stars want to play for the Indiana Fever anymore, but rather whether the rest of the league is prepared for what's coming. Are you excited? Let us know in the comments, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. This is the vision that players like Natasha Howard clearly saw when choosing the Fever. With just one more strategic addition, this team isn't just talking about making playoffs or demonstrating improvement. They're positioning themselves as legitimate title contenders. We'll see you in the next one after you click the video on the screen.